Okay, so here's the thing. You and your heart and your mind are very similar to a car's dashboard. You actually have indicators that tell you when something's not quite as it should be. These are called your emotions. But it seems like, unfortunately, just a lot of people aren't aware of their emotions, and so they just don't know how to properly deal with them. So here's what I see are the issues. I mean, first of all, so many people today wear their heart on their sleeve. And so basically what that means is they want everybody to know how they feel all the time. The second thing I've noticed is it seems like our definition of mental health and mental health crisis has just really broadened way too much. I completely understand that there are legit mental health crises that people go through. But it just seems like today, every single emotion we have is some kind of mental health crisis. Chances are you don't have a mental health issue and your emotions are not a crisis. The third thing I noticed is we've kind of been taught two ways to deal with our emotions. Number one is let everybody know what they are and make sure that we're blaming somebody, probably you, for our emotions. Or the other side of that is just pretend we don't even have emotions. Just push them all the way down and pretend they don't exist. And when you take those two perspectives and kind of apply them to that car analogy, your car is still going to be busted. And so maybe the solution to all of this is to simply deal with our emotions and do it in the same way that we remedy our car when an indicator light goes on the dashboard and we know something needs to be done to make it right again. So I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I'm not any kind of counselor or therapist. I'm just somebody that's been there and I've had to deal with emotions before. And I'm kind of typically somebody who, like, my emotions are like this. I mean, inside I feel them, but I've had so many people say, man, Jeff, you can be like super angry or super excited and you just kind of look the same. So I don't know, I guess that's a good thing, right? But inside I still deal with emotions. Now I gotta give credit where it's due. This whole dashboard analogy comes from a guy named Ryan Michler. Ryan Michler runs a business and organization called Order of Man. It's obviously geared towards men, so check it out sometime. Anyway, let's dig into this imagery so you can fully understand it and start to put it into practice. Most of the time when we're driving our car, we really don't pay a whole lot of close attention to the dashboard. Everything is running well, everything's running smooth, and so we can just focus on the road and go to our destination. We don't even have to really think about it. And I would compare that to just our everyday contentment, satisfaction, or happiness in life. There's not a whole lot of things pulling our attention. We're just focused on living and we're enjoying it. But every once in a while we're driving and an indicator light will go on. And maybe it's something like, your washer fluid is running low, or you're getting close to empty in your tank, or something comes on that says, you know what, it's time for an oil change in your car. So those sort of indicators, they're not necessarily like life or death emergencies. You can kind of look at it and be like, oh man, I gotta take care of that. But you don't necessarily need to stop the car and call for help. And certainly what you wouldn't do is just start calling and telling your friends and saying, oh man, my washer fluid is out in my car. Whoever drove it last, they're such an idiot. I can't believe they would do something like that. And we wouldn't do that because, well, it doesn't solve the problem. And then you're just really this angry, negative person. And most of those things are just little things that we can take care of when we have the opportunity. You go by the store and you pick up some washer fluid, you pass the gas station, fill up with gas, you go home and change your oil, done, it's taken care of. And so those sort of indicators are kind of like our everyday emotions. Sometimes I wake up and it's cloudy and rainy out and I just kind of feel down. I don't know, weather just affects me like that. I don't go whining and complaining about it. Well, actually, I kind of do sometimes. But it doesn't make the weather go away. It doesn't solve the problem. Usually a good cup of coffee will make me feel better. Yep. Or you're at work and it seems like somebody's kind of taking a dig at you. You can just go have a conversation with that person and take care of it. Or just realize maybe I'm just overthinking and making too big of something that's really nothing at all. Or you're driving home and somebody is tailgating you and you're ready to flip out or flip something else. And then you realize, you know what? Emotional awareness. This is not a big deal. This is something I can take care of. I can wave the guy by, or I can just slow down and let him pass, or I can just go 90 and get away from him. No, you shouldn't do that. But my point is that most of these everyday emotions, they're easy for us to take care of. If we have this dashboard awareness, we can identify what the problem is and just go and take care of it. Now, sometimes you're driving along and your transmission light goes on, or your check engine light goes on, or you see the temperature rising really fast. A little over a week ago, I was driving home the family minivan, and I noticed that the AC was kind of getting like humid. It wasn't quite as cool as it should be. And I happened to glance at the temperature gauge and I saw it rising up. It hadn't quite reached the red yet, but I knew it was going to get there. So I put down all the windows, I blasted the heat, and I got myself home. As soon as I did, the coolant poured out of the car. It ended up that I had a busted water pump. And I can fix some things, like basic things on a car, but I probably couldn't even identify that it was my water pump. So I got the car to my mechanic and he took care of it. Cost a lot of money, but now the van is back to normal. There's no lights on the dashboard. But so sometimes we have these serious indicators that we need to stop and take care of it immediately, or something serious can happen. So in this category, we put severe depression. You know, if you are waking up down and depressed day after day after day, and it's going on and starting to affect your life, maybe where you're paralyzed at work or around your family and friends, that is an issue that needs to get taken care of. It's not just going to go away. And I think anger is the same thing. Too often, unfortunately, anger is brought into the home, and those are the people that hear it most. And if they're telling you, man, why are you always upset? Why are you always taking everything out on us? That is a strong indicator that there's a problem, and you need to see somebody and get that taken care of. And so for a lot of these bigger emotional issues, we may not be able to identify what the root problem is. And that's where we go see a counselor, we go see a pastor, we go see a therapist, and we get it taken care of. To pretend it's not there or to whine and complain about it to everybody is never going to solve the problem. And this really has cultural implications today. I mean, we all know that our world, at least our country, is very much polarized. And I think in the same way, we have that same polarization with our emotions. Some people want everybody to know how they feel, and they're going to make sure you're the one to blame. And then there's another side, and it's kind of like that masculinity side. And I'm all for masculinity. I'm all for like being careful with my emotions, but we also can't just tuck them away and pretend they're not there, because they're going to end up coming out at some point. So I'm telling you, you got to try this. You got to apply it, tell others about it, and then tell me in the comments, what are the results? Is it working for you? And the thing is, if we don't end up dealing with our emotions, we're going to end up being a really negative person. And if you feel like that's you, I'm going to put in the description below a great video that I think will help you if you feel like you're a negative person. I'll also put it here at the end of the video. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. See you guys next time.